So today, we bring the month of May to a close. And this month, who said aw? Don't worry, we'll have another month next week. We'll have another month next week. But we always do a theme, and our theme for this month has been Bridge Across Time, because we have celebrated this entire month, and we're actually celebrating all year, but we have focused this month on celebrating the 20th anniversary of this spiritual community. 20 years of changing lives for the better. 20 years of being of service, 20 years of growing inside and out, 20 years of expressing God's love, being God's light, living God's truth, 20 years of opening hearts and incubating dreams. And as we have celebrated where we were, where we are, and where we're going across that bridge, it's important to recognize, exactly as that song said, that we have made choices, we've made decisions all along the way. And even if some of those choices or decisions, just like in our own personal lives, if we, in hindsight, judge them to be good, bad, or indifferent, they have taken us, they have been steps on the road that have brought us to this moment, this extraordinary moment in this extraordinary life. And this is true not just for us as a spiritual community, but our focus this month has been also our own individual journeys, our own walks. Maybe our spiritual journey hasn't been 20 years, maybe it's been longer than 20 years. But we've looked at where we were, where we are, where we're going. And I want to say to each and every one of you that every decision you've made along the way, every choice you made, whether you later judged it good, bad, or indifferent, has brought you to this moment, to your extraordinary life in this moment. And that is what we are going to celebrate and look at and explore a little bit more today as we bring this month to a close. So before we do the very first thing that I want us to do, we're going to do something, and I'll describe that in a second. And then we'll move into a couple of ways that from a beautiful book of how we can really live and how we can turn today, this moment, into something extraordinary. And then you're going to get to have a personal experience. So we're going to actually bookend today with personal experiences. Are you ready for that? Please tell me yes with some more enthusiasm. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to be looking for it again in just a moment, because this is what I want us to do. We know we talk all the time about vibration and the level of the energy that we're living, and where is that vibration, and are we in alignment and attracting the things that we desire in our lives by having a high level vibration? Are we up-leveling humanity through our vibration and the thoughts we're thinking, the feelings we're having? We can either help uplift humankind, or we can help keep humankind here, or bring it even lower, depending on where we are in our vibration. So we're going to do something right now that can create a high vibration, and that is by being grateful, identifying and being grateful for I like three extraordinary, three ways that your life today is extraordinary. 3 reasons that you would say, my life is extraordinary. Now, when I say that, I know there's at least one person out there, and probably more than one, whose brain wants to do this. Well, okay, I guess I would call this extraordinary, but I've got this going on. So what I'm asking us is to get our big butts out of the way. I did a whole sermon once called "Get Your Big Butt Out of the Way." Do you remember that? It was a long time ago, but those of you who have been around for a while remember that. Yes. Well, all I'm asking is for these next few moments that you get your big butt out of the way. And don't put a but on the end of that, because in this human experience, there can be challenges. And with a group this large, there's somebody having a challenge with health, or with relationships, or with finances, or whatever it might be. There could be a challenge in your life. And I'm not discounting the fact that we need to address those things and deal with them in the highest way possible, and do whatever is important in the world for us to do. But for this moment, I want us to focus on the extraordinary. And that brings up our level of vibration, which then helps us deal with those challenges that we may be facing. So as I thought about it, I'm the one who got to be prepared for this. You're not prepared, but I am. I was thinking, what would I say? The three things that come to my top of mind probably won't come as any big surprise. The first one would be my life is so extraordinary because I am so blessed to be married for 24 years to the man of my dreams. So I think that makes my life extraordinary. And yeah. Woo! Right. The other extraordinary thing in my life is you and this spiritual community. And I feel so honored and blessed to be able to serve all of you and to work with you and to the leadership that we have, which is just amazing. And these 4 beautiful new souls who came into an already incredible practitioner spiritual life coach group. So I feel so extraordinarily blessed for that, and to work with singers like this and to have them behind me so I can hear them harmonize and maybe I can catch one of the harmonies. It's really, really fun to do that. The third one that I would say is I feel so incredibly blessed by my extraordinary friends who are in this community, and I do have some who have nothing to do with this community and have nothing to do with religious science, where I can just go be Michelle and I don't have to be a minister. And that's great, amazing, and just, okay, all right, I'll tell it. Sometimes Spirit downloads something and I then argue a little bit, but I just want to give you a quick example of an extraordinary, how extraordinary blessed Lonnie and I are with some particular friends. When Lonnie went to Brazil a year and a half ago, down to see John of God, we had conversations about should I go with him. And ultimately, and I was very prayerful about whether or not should I go, I got really clear that it wasn't mine to do. It was his quest, and his quest would have been different had I been along mothering him the whole time. And so he went for 2 weeks. But in that process of making the decision not to go, we shared with our non-church who don't understand any of this stuff, think we're on that level, think we're a little out there, but they love us anyway. And all they knew is I wasn't going. They didn't know why. I didn't, go into the details of the intuition and the prayer and all that went into it. I just said, I'm not going. I get a call one day from one of the friends who says, or text, call me right away. Our friends don't usually say things like that. So I'm like, okay, why should I call right away? I called her and she said, we've been talking. There's 3 of these folks. We've been talking and we just want to know something. And if what we think is right, we want to tell you something. If you are not going to Brazil with Lonnie, because we think you should, we think you should go with him. If you are not going because of money, we do not want that to be a factor. And we will pay for you to go. We won't loan you the money. We will pay for you to go. That today, even today, a year and a half later, still touches my heart so deeply that we have friends who love us that much. And I then went into my big explanation. It's not because of the money. I'm choosing not to go. But to have friends who will do something like that, I feel so incredibly, extraordinarily blessed. So those were my 3 examples. I want you to think for just a moment. 3 examples for yourself. 3 ways that your life is extraordinary. No but. Just 3 ways your life is extraordinary. Got it? Are we ready? Shake your head yes if you're ready. I'm not seeing some, so okay, I'll give you another minute. I know there are 3 extraordinary things in your life right now. So when I count down 3, 2, 1, I want to hear them loud, all of them, at once. Blow my socks off, okay? Or as our former choir director used to say, blow my hair back, right? That's what she would say. I want to blow my hair back. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was good. Give yourselves a hand for that. That was good. That was good. I think of the line from a beautiful Jamie Lula song, lovely New Thought singer-songwriter who wrote, I've got so much more to be grateful than to be sorry for. And you just did that right now and created a beautiful vibration, high-level vibration by doing that, which can then take us to where else we're going to go today. In our work the last couple of weeks, you may remember that we've discussed we've called it and I quote, a single most important piece of advice for bringing into your experience that which you desire. I shared this in the context, and then we discussed it for 2 weeks. I shared it in the context of a note from the universe from Mike Dooley. Does anybody remember, and there will be, I don't have any chocolate up here to give you, but there will be great praise and accolations and glory for anyone who can tell me what the one best piece of advice is for whatever it is you're wanting to bring into your life. What is the one thing you can do to bring that in? Bev raised her hand very timidly up here. What is it, Bev? Take a shot at it.
Gratitude for where you are right now and what you have.
Be happy right now. That was close enough. Give Bev a hand. Good job, Bev. Accolades, praise, glory upon you. Be happy now. So the note from the universe was this. Do you know that the single most effective piece of advice ever given to anyone who wanted a life partner is the exact same piece of advice for anyone who ever wanted to live in prosperity, which also happens to be the single most effective piece of advice ever given to anyone who wished to discover their purpose, foster peace on earth, improve their health, or dance Gangnam Style. That is it. I'm never, ever doing that again. I've done it 3 weeks in a row. Never again. What is that piece of advice? Be happy now. Be happy now. So being happy now is a way to live that extraordinary life now and create that extraordinary life tomorrow. I want to give you 2 ideas that come from a Neale Donald Walsch book. We all know who Neale Donald Walsch is, right? The wonderful author of the many Conversations with God books and many other books. And he wrote one about 5 years ago or so that has a very, I think, provocative name, a very provocative title. It really calls you on like, what is he talking about here? The name of the book is called Happier Than God. Have you read that or heard of it? Happier Than God. And then it has a subtitle, Turning an Ordinary Life into an Extraordinary Life. In it, he gives a whole bunch of ideas for being happy now, ways to be happy now and call into our experience being happy now later. So I want to give you just 2 of the many ways. If you want to get them all, you have to read his book. But I want to give you 2 this morning. And the first one will probably not come as a surprise. None of them come as actual surprises, but the question is, do we live them? Are we living from them? So the first one that he suggests, or the first one I want to share with you that he suggests, is that in order to be happy now, and create a future in which we can be extremely happy as well, is to be a giver of what we desire, to give away that which we desire to receive, to cause others to experience the experience we wish to have. So if we want to have a prosperity, well, then let us help someone else be prosperous. If we want love, then let us give love to someone else. If we want to have more courage, let's empower someone else. If we want to have more joy in our life, then let's bring joy into someone else's life. Be a giver to life. Now, why does that make us happy in the moment? And why does that cause us to be even more attractive to our good in the future? It makes us happy in the moment when we are a giver to life, not, let me just have a side note here, not as a martyr, not as I have an obligation to, and not really because I expect something back from you because I've given to you. If we come at it that way, that does not bring happiness. I can promise, because I've done all of those things. That does not bring happiness. What brings happiness is to live from our sacred nature, which is divine givingness. We are made in the image and likeness of the divine giver, of the giver of all. And so it is our divine nature to give. And when we tap into our divine nature to give and give from that place freely, fully, because we want to, that is true happiness. But how does that then bring, even though we don't have an expectation of it, it in fact does bring our good back to us. So Neale Donald Walsch, as he's writing his book, he has conversations with God. This is what he does. He poses a question and then he lets the divine download into him. And so he posed that question, and here is the question of why does this multiply my good? He got this from God. because you are the only one in the room. I don't understand, Walsh said. And I said something like this to God. Huh? God explained, all things are one thing. There is only one thing, and all things are part of the one thing that is. Therefore, what you do for another, you do for yourself. And what you fail to do for another, you fail to do for yourself. So I suspect that on an intellectual level, we've, as wonderful new thoughters, as wonderful science of mind practitioners and followers, we have that intellectually. We get, because this is a fundamental principle of our teaching, that we're one. We're one with God. We're all one with God. Therefore, we are one with each other. There really is only one of us here. Ernest Holmes says, multiplicity within the one. So while we're individualized expressions of the one, we are still part of the whole. So out of the one substance comes multiplicity. So we get that intellectually. So, okay, I can see that because there's only really me here, it's only me here, then what I do for you, I also do for myself, right? That makes sense. The place that Walsh goes with this then, which I love, and I had never thought of it this way, takes it to a whole new level. And he calls this the multiplier effect. And here's how it works. We believe that everything is energy, right? Everything is energy. We believe that energy is creative, right? We believe that what we energetically project out there through our thoughts, our feelings, our conscience, for the fullness of who we are, then we receive that in some way, shape, or form. We receive that back, right? Fundamental tenets that we believe. So if I am solely focusing on my good, and there is nothing wrong with having a desire for my good. So somebody give me an example of some good that you might be looking to experience more of in your life. Just give me an example. Health. All right. So let's say I am focusing on my health. I want more vibrant, dynamic, and radiant health. So I am focusing on that. And as I focus on that, I give it, let's say this is the amount of energy I give it because I'm focusing on me and my health. This is the amount of energy I'm putting out, projecting into the universe, planting into the law for my health. Not bad. It's good. It's fantastic. It works. But, oh, this is a big but that's a good but, actually. If I, in fact, were to accept and confirm and do whatever I can to support you and 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 every one of you watching online, your health as well, I have just increased the amount of energy I'm giving to this idea this much. So if we believe it's all energy, energy creates, and the energy I project comes back to me, how much energy would I like to come back to me about health? Would I like this much? Or would I like this much? I think I'd like this much. So I love that way of looking at it, that when we choose to support others in receiving that which we desire to receive, we expand the amount of energy. We multiply the energy that we are putting forth, and it can only come back and serve and support us. Again, we don't do it because of that. We don't do it in a martyr way. We don't do it in an obligation way, and we certainly don't have an expectation that it comes back from a certain person or in a certain way. But that is just the way it works. When we choose to be a giver of what we desire, we not only come from our divine place of givingness, but we energetically multiply our power to experience that in our own lives and support others in doing it as well, creating yet an even healthier, happier, more joy-filled world to live in. So this is the first idea that I wanted to share with you from Neale Donald Walsch about how to be happy now. The second one is really important. Really important. So I want you to tap your neighbor and go, pay attention. This is for you. I want you to be sure and hear this. Pay attention. And when I say it, you may like, what is she talking about? So I'll explain. Turn your addictions into preferences. Now, let me explain that. Let me explain what I mean by that, all right? Let me explain. There's some splaining to do here. So when I say in this context addictions, I am not talking about those kind of big addictions that many people have, that many of us have released, addictions to drugs, alcohol, sex, rock and roll, whatever it might be, gambling, shopping, although we do call that retail therapy. We don't call that addiction. No. But nonetheless, no, not that. It's the addiction to having things be exactly the way you want it to be. The addiction to having things be exactly the way you want them to be. If they are not exactly the way you want them to be, we become unhappy. Versus, I have a preference for something to be this way. I prefer this, and it's absolutely healthy and fine and wonderful to have our preferences and to speak them. Nothing wrong with that. Very healthy to have preferences and to share them and speak them. The addiction comes in is if we do not get our preference, if we're unhappy, upset, mad, angry, then we're addicted. And so how many of us have that addiction? Come on. We all do. We all at some point have this. If it didn't go my way, I'm unhappy. We will be so much happier in our lives if we can let that go and allow what is. We've talked for the last 2 weeks about allowing what is. Thank you for everything. I have one more word, whatsoever. Thank you for everything. I have no complaint whatsoever. That was a mantra from last Sunday. This is what this is talking about. I can prefer this, but if I don't get it, I can still be happy. In fact, not can I will still be happy. So how do we live an extraordinary life? We focus on those things that are extraordinary right now, and we're grateful for them. We live in great gratitude for them. We absolutely become a giver to life, and we give that which we desire to receive, and we let go of our addiction to having it be a certain way, and we shift to having preferences. But we don't when our preferences aren't met, we don't let it rock our foundational happiness. The final thing we're going to do this morning, we come back to participation time. This is a center whose mission it is to open hearts and incubate dreams. Every single one of you has a dream. There's no big or little in God, so it could be what you might call little. It might be so big that you can't even imagine how it can work. There is no big or little in God. Every one of us has something in us that's being called forth. It doesn't matter how young you are or how old you are. It doesn't matter if you've accomplished a myriad of your dreams or if you've never yet accomplished one. None of that matters. There is something right now today in you. And every one of you has it, even if you don't know it. I promise you do. And I want to say this really clearly. Every single one of you has the divine right to manifest and call forth that dream. So I want us to say together, I have the divine right, to call forth my dream. Oh, I love that. You guys are so good. The hands are up. That's perfect. That's so perfect. Power position. So there's a little form in the pew pocket in front of you. There's a form. And it says, what is my dream today? Or something to that effect. Pam is going to give us a little dream building music here. Because I want to give you a few minutes to write out something that's on your heart right now. Big or small, no difference in God. Something that is in you that you know God's been nudging. There's a little push from the inside. This is my next step in my evolution of consciousness. This is my next step in my experience as a God being in this human form. This is my next turn around the spiral of my upward evolution. I know every one of you has something, and if you just tap in and ask the question, it's there. And should it not be there, then just make something up. Because whatever you make up, that is in fact it. So I'm going to be quiet now after I give one more piece of instruction so you can just contemplate for a few moments. There's something on this form that we have never put on a form before. We've done dream building before, but there's something on that form that's never been on a form before, and that is, if you want, you don't have to, But if you want tangible support in bringing this dream into fruition in your life, from this community whose mission and purpose it is to incubate and bring dreams to manifestation, write down the specific, tangible way you would like us to support you. And if you want that to be personal, then you need to put your contact information also. If you don't want that, no worries. Please know that everything we do here is in support of you. Everything we say, everything we teach, everything we offer is in support of calling forth your dream. But if you would like specific, tangible help, support, then write that down as well. So now I'm going to be quiet so you can write. We are creating here today our bridge across time. Taking a couple more moments. When you're complete with it, this is what I'd like you to do. Fold it in half. And then send it over to the person on the end of the aisle, center aisle. Our ushers are going to come along and collect them. Okay, ushers, come on up. Did we get everybody? We have up here our dream incubator. Thank you, Betty Peterson, for this amazing dream incubator. These dreams are going to go in this incubator to be nurtured. Yep, got it. I've often said I wanted a magic wand, and now I have one. And so we're going to bless these dreams that are in here. And we're going to know that in the mind of God they're already done. And as we bless them right now, that they are brought forth into tangible experience in the right and perfect timing, in the right and perfect way. Because as we have placed them here in this powerful dream incubator, in the fertile soil of God's law, as they have been blessed in a consciousness of love and acceptance in this room, we know that they are done. And we release all when, where, how, or even if. And we simply move into a place of believing in this moment today, believing that we not only deserve these dreams, but they are already done and coming into our life at the perfect time, in the perfect way. We are so grateful. We stand in gratitude. And we call it good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.